Welcome everyone and thank you for attending today's webinar, New Free Diversity Recruitment Tools. This webinar is sponsored by Scott Safety and Lion with support from PBI, Cigna, Tincata, Fire Chief, and Citrix Online. If you experience any technical difficulties, please bring it to the attention of the organizer through your chat box. You can also submit any questions or comments through the chat box as well. Technical quality is directly related to the speed of your internet connection. My name is Odessa Kawai and I am your moderator for this webinar. Your organizer is going to be Cami Higa. We're going to begin the webinar by introducing our panel members, and then we are going to discuss how the country's changing demographics is affecting the current reality of diversity recruitment. Our departments will then talk about the challenges they have faced in diversity recruitment, and we will talk about the FIRE 2020 recruiting diversity model. We are then going to introduce our new free diversity recruitment tools, which are the Why I Chose FIRE Next Generation videos. We will then have our panelists discuss strategies for integrating the videos into your current recruitment strategy. We're then going to close out the webinar with some question and answers and our final closing remarks. It is now my honor to turn it over to our panel members to introduce themselves. Lieutenant Hughes, would you like to start?
Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Hughes, Lieutenant with Baltimore County Fire Department. I began my career in the fire service as a volunteer at the age of 16. Have spent a lot of time learning and growing in the fire service and faced many challenges throughout my career. Currently, as I stated, I'm a fire lieutenant. I serve on as the Eastern Division trustee for the International Association of Women in the Fire Service, and I'm happy to be a part of this today.
Yes, good morning. My name is Hank Tran. I have 35 years in the fire service. I am currently the fire chief on Bainbridge Island in Washington, but I served 29 years in the Long Beach Fire Department, where I was involved with the recruitment of minorities through a recruitment process. I also was a board member for a group that looked at careers in the fire service for Latino women, and I'm the proud father of 3 daughters.
Good morning, everyone. First, let me say thank you for Odessa stepping in as the facilitator and moderator on this panel, and I'm simply being relegated to the position of a panel member. I started FIRE 2020 about 9.5 years ago. I was never in the fire service, but I saw that these issues around recruiting and retaining diversity and helping to engage multicultural communities was a key issue. So I really bring actually my social worker, community organizer, trainer, marketeer kinds of backgrounds to doing this work. Over the past 3.5 years, FIRE 2020 has trained 156 department leadership teams in the U.S. and Canada in our recruiting and retaining diversity model. Thank you. It's great to be here as a panel member.
I'd like to thank all of our panel members for participating in today's webinar. We do have a 4th panel member, Division Chief Art Price from Madison Fire Department. He is currently getting online. Once he does get on the call, we will have him introduce himself to you. In the meantime, let's start off with some of the department recruitment challenges that our panelists have faced. Chief Turan, would you like to go first?
Yes, Hank Tran, I'd love to start. First of all, I kind of have a unique situation because we truly are an island here on Bainbridge. So not only do we have the challenge of the Gulf Fire Service trying to find people of diversity backgrounds, but also I have a geographic challenge as well. So what we've done to try to encourage that is we've looked outside of the island itself, and for the first time ever brought outside volunteers from outside and other communities into the island, which was unique and kind of trend-setting at the time because the island had traditionally only utilized volunteers from within the community itself.
Angie, would you like to mention something?
Sure, absolutely. We face a different problem. We are a major metropolitan fire department in Baltimore County with nearly 1,000 career members. Our problem is finding a target audience that can meet the minimum standards because we don't believe in lowering the standards. We need to have people to be successful in their career and be passionate about it. We do serve a career and volunteer fire service in Baltimore County, Maryland.
Chief here price hasn't come on yet. So what we're going to do is move along, and I'll turn over the time to Larry, who will go over the importance of why having a successful diversity recruitment strategy is essential now.
Thanks, Odessa. So many of you have heard me talk about this before. It really comes down to why is it important that we have more diversity and inclusion in the fire service. The first key thing that really we need to pay attention to is that our communities are changing. The Census Bureau says that by 2042, and I really predict it's probably going to be about 2040 or 2025, that we're really going to see us moving as a country into being a minority-majority country. The Hispanic population is expected to triple by 2042. The Asian population, which is actually the fastest growing population in our country, is expected to grow by 2.5 times. And the African American population is expected to double. While these populations of people are growing, the challenge is that the fire department's diversity is actually shrinking. So here are some of the things about what are going on in the fire service today. In our communities today that the fire service needs to deal with. Today we've got about 12% foreign-born in our population, and about 20% of the population speak another language at home. The Census Bureau is suggesting and predicting that by 2050 or before, 19% of the population are going to be foreign-born, so that's going to be increasing from 12 to 19%. That's going to significantly impact the number of languages. The second thing, and this has been in the news a lot, is our issues around growing poverty, the separation of the classes, the loss of the middle class, the growing gap between lower class, middle class, and the upper class in our country. The national rate right now is about 15% of our population are living in poverty or below the poverty level. But the important thing is really about what's happening with kids. The Census Bureau says about 22% of our children in this country are living at or below the poverty rate. And if you take a look at the multicultural communities, that increases significantly. Languages are key, and as firefighters and emergency responders know, languages impact our responses, they impact our prevention efforts, they impact our abilities to work effectively during emergency management kinds of situations. And with the number of natural disasters, FEMA ran into a big problem with the hurricane in New York and New Jersey, in that they just simply did not have the number of people that they needed who spoke the languages of the people they were trying to evacuate. One of the interesting things that I'd like you to take a look at is a lot of people think that language issues are really border issues. And if you take a look at some of the cities that are not on borders, but in Middle America, and the number of languages that their departments are having to deal with, you really begin to see what's happening with languages and what fire departments are having to deal with. So NFPA talks about high-risk populations, and as I showed where our country is growing, if you take a look at what our highest risk fire populations are, it's children under 5, foreign-born, people with disabilities, the elderly, and the biggest issue, again, is poverty. Poverty really is the ranking degree here for all of these groups. If a child under 5 is living in a home of means, they're probably not at as high a risk as if they are coming from a home that's in poverty. So let me talk a little bit about some research, and I'll talk about this a couple of times during this webinar. This is more about how we think about the issues and how we think about the problems rather than jumping into action and doing something. Fire 2020 has done 3 research studies. The first we did in 2006 and 2007. It was a FEMA grant. We studied firefighter and civilian safety in Seattle, Austin, Milwaukee, and Calgary. The second was we did a diversity by rank study in partnership with the Metro Fire Chiefs. 108 out of 110 Metro departments, those with 400 firefighters or more, identified what their diversity numbers were. But for the first time, we had people identify where diversity was within the rank of their departments. This is critical because it really impacts where decisions get made in the department. So the old data that's being collected in most cities, and if you collect it in your department, about total numbers of diverse firefighters or emergency responders is one issue, but if everybody's at the low end, it really impacts where that department is growing and how it's going to grow. The third study we did in the last couple of years, we studied prevention issues in multicultural communities. We've got somebody who is not muted, and we hear a conversation going on in the background. Thank you. So we got responses from 2,474 fire personnel and career combination and volunteer departments, as well as 29 state fire marshals. All of these studies are on our website if you want to take a look at them. So here's what the research told us. We're really facing 4 issues: language barriers, cultural knowledge gaps, and the cultural knowledge gaps is an interesting point because fire departments don't really have, because they're not diverse, because they're not made up of community members from different multicultures or multicultural communities, fire departments don't really understand a lot of the cultural issues that are going on in those communities. On the same hand, the fire culture is a very unique culture, and so community members from different cultures don't really understand the fire department culture either. Trust issues is a huge, huge issue. People, especially who've come here from foreign countries, where they might have actually lived in a situation where people in uniform took away family members, did not treat them very well, took bribes, that kind of thing, that lives for a long time in their memories. And so the challenge is that fire departments need to really reach out proactively to begin building relationships with these different multicultural communities. The old conversation about diversity, and this unfortunately, and I don't know if anybody from DOJ is on this call, I have asked DOJ to take a look at this issue, is about reflecting the community. That's how we judge. If somebody's under investigation or a consent decree is filed, the thing that people do is they take a look at what is the diversity of the community and then what is the diversity in your department and how do those two line up. It is a numbers game. It is the feature of your department. It does not say anything at all about how well your department is doing within those communities. And so what I've been encouraging, and Fire 2020 has been encouraging, is that those of us who get it, those of us who want to move this conversation forward, we've got to stop looking just at numbers and stop looking at this issue of reflection. A bigger issue, and for some people, this sounds like it's reflection, but it's how does your department represent the community? So is the community your department? Is the department your community? And the third area is respect. And when we talk about respect, oftentimes I hear emergency responders saying, well, I treat everyone the same. But respect is not treating everyone the same. Respect is about understanding who people are and treating them the way they want to be treated. So when you are thinking about diversity and especially inclusion in your department and working with your different multicultural communities, I ask that you really think about these 3 terms and really try to help people understand that this is much more about the department is the community is the department, and that this respect issue is treating people the way they want to be treated. So why do we want a more diverse fire service? there is a value proposition, and we who are working on this campaign need to talk to people about the benefits, not about the features. A qualified, inclusive, diverse, and safety-conscious fire EMS department that respects and represents the multicultural communities it serves can do a better job. They can increase their reach, they can increase the effectiveness in a number of different areas. First of all, you can do a better job and be safer in emergency response situations. The second thing is that it's much more cost effective to be able to do fire prevention and risk reduction, and when you've got a department that represents your community and is tied into your community, you can be far more effective at prevention and risk reduction efforts. The third thing is that we can engage the community in conversations up front, not in reaction to, but up front about how to do better disaster preparedness. The fourth thing is once we move into an emergency management kind of situation, we can be much more efficient. We will understand what some of the issues are in different cultures, why some cultures feel less able to evacuate, why other cultures don't want to go back into their homes to get certain items that are meaningful from a religious or a spiritual perspective. So we can really be much more efficient and inclusive once we get into an emergency situation. And then successful diversity recruitment. The more inclusive your department is, the more diverse your department is, the more success you will have in recruiting the next generation. Odessa, can I turn this back over to you?
Thank you, Larry. What we'd like to do now is Division Chief Art Price from Madison Department is online, and we would like to introduce him.
So I've been working with Larry in 2020 since I've been in my division chief position now. I'm in my 6th year. And so we started a conversation a while back about diversity and maintaining diversity, and Chief Amester was our leader at that point. So a lot of what he's saying, I hear we live, and we've been doing it for a while. And so I guess I'm just here to help out, answer any questions, maybe kind of just give a little bit of feedback on some of the things that we've been doing to help maintain our diversity and keep moving forward. Because it is a process, and it takes time to get there. You got to get there with the right frame of mind.
Thank you, Chief Price. So after Larry's intro about the benefits of having a inclusive and diverse fire department, since you were late on the call, Chief Price, would you like to briefly explain how your department has benefited from being an inclusive and diverse fire department?
Sure. I think it has made our department stronger because now we look at different perspectives about things that are, I guess, supposed to be tradition, within the fire service, and tradition by itself isn't, I think is good enough. It needs to have tradition needs to be able to grow and get stronger. And the only way that will happen is if you get different points of views into the mix. So as we get as a new leader now, Chief Davis, he's really committed to. Okay.
Sorry, Chief Price, you sound a little muffled. Can you speak up a little bit? People are having a hard time to hear you. Okay, well, while you fix that, Angela, would you like to mention about how your department has benefited from being an inclusive and diverse fire department?
Oh, absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. We represent our community, and we change our culture by representing our community, and we've benefited as a department, as a community, by having people that look like you or look like different diverse groups there responding to emergencies. It makes people feel more comfortable in that environment.
Nice. Larry, would you like to mention anything more about or Chief Turan or Chief Price. Do you have your?
Okay.
Okay, there you go, Chief Price. We can hear you very well now.
Okay. Well, the same as what you just said. Adding diversity to our department, has made us stronger because it helps us bring in different ideas, and that reflects in our responses and the way we serve the community. And also, like, there's nothing that there's no advertising, there's nothing that you can do better than actually having diversity, and people seeing it. That's the proof in the pudding right there, when you can respond on calls and people can see the diversity right there on your rig. That's the biggest piece. But it's not just about what we have on the front line. It's also how we use the diversity and how it stays on the department and how it moves through the department as far as getting into leadership positions that it's going to help the department grow.
Great point, Chief Price. We're still trying to see if Chief Turan.
Odessa, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yay, Chief Turan.
Oh, okay, great. Well, my two colleagues said it very, very eloquently, and I just want to add on to what Chief Price said, is that I think it's also important is that throughout leadership positions, just like the Chief said, is that you can see diversity, because that just shows not just the community, but also young people coming into the department, that the department truly does value that diversity, and it's important to see it in the upper ranks as well as in the firefighter ranks.
Great points. Thank you. Larry, would you like to talk about the value of inclusion and diversity and explain the Fire 2020 Diversity Recruitment Framework?
Sure. So, as I'd mentioned before, this is as much, if not more, about how we think about these issues and how we think about solutions as it is doing something about it. This is really the opposite of being an emergency responder, where you are given a tremendous amount of training and you are ready to go in a moment, and as things pop up, you've received training or you've got an intuition because of all the training about how to mitigate that emergency or that problem. This is a culture issue. This is a systems kind of problem. It's a very different kind of a problem than solving an emergency response issue. So where do you and where does your department fit on this idea, on this value line of how you perceive diversity and inclusion? So are you at the left side? Do you see this? We have to solve this problem because if we don't, there's going to be a stick. We're going to get punished. We're under consent decree. The community's coming down on us. The city council's coming down on us. So is this a problem that you look at that needs to be fixed? Or is this a solution to helping your department better engage all of the different multicultural communities that you serve? And that in a nutshell is how to take a look at where you are at. And there is a way to shift from problem to solution on this. And if we really want to engage the community, we want to engage our leadership, we need to start looking at this much more from a solution perspective rather than the problem. When you are out recruiting, you need to be in touch with the community's needs, not so much your department needs, because the community is going to end up being a partner with you. So let's take a look at how do you make this inclusion and diversity movement real. The first thing is we have to be honest and have a courageous conversation about the current reality. Where are we at today? What's working, what's not working? The second piece of this is to really take a look at what is the future vision. What does an inclusive and diverse department look like? How does it better serve? What are the benefits? What does it look like on a day-to-day basis? How is hiring different? How is training different? So For an example, let's choose training. Training now is primarily dealing with a certain kind of situation. What happens if instead of just talking about going in to deal with an emergency, we add some multicultural elements to that? If we've got members from different multicultural communities in our department, we are learning from each other on a day-to-day basis. It turns us into a real learning environment. The third piece of this is, how do you get there? And emergency responders and task-oriented people, as soon as they identify the current reality and the problem, they want to jump in to try to fix it, to try to mitigate it. And what we've learned, again, this is a different kind of a problem to solve, is that if you don't know what you're really trying to create, you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't articulate it, other than just numbers, you can do all kinds of tasks and it's not going to get you there. So let me talk about the framework of what we have taught in our workshops, and some of you have seen this before, and I just want to reinforce it. A diversity recruitment strategy has to take a look at what's going on inside of your department. A department that is not an inclusive environment may end up recruiting new diverse members, but they're going to leave shortly, or they're going to badmouth the department if they don't feel like they're being treated fairly. So the department first has to start and take a look at what's going on inside. The second piece of this framework is to involve the community, to understand what their safety issues are, and that the fire department and a very diverse and inclusive department is in fact a solution to helping the community to address their safety needs. The next piece of this is that the movement has to start with leadership. Unfortunately, this is not something that is driven by a bottom-up approach. It has to be top-down and bottom-up. But if your leadership is not on board with the benefits, if they don't truly understand, if they are not modeling, if they don't have a zero-tolerance policy that they are holding strong to, without that coming from leadership, it's just not going to happen. And by leadership, we're of course referring to fire department leadership, but we're also referring to labor leadership, we're referring to the HR organizations leadership, we're referring to fire chiefs' bosses and city and county managers, and we're referring to leadership in the community. The next key element to this is you need to know who is the target audience. This idea, we are unfortunately do not have the resources of Amazon.com. Their market is everyone. But when we're working on this, this is happening over time, and the more specific we can define the target audience, the easier it is for us to understand where people work, where they play, where they pray, where they shop, where they have recreation, so we'll know where to go to meet qualified, inclusive, diverse, and safety-conscious potential firefighters. The next piece of this is to understand what is the mindset within the department about diversity and inclusion, about every member of the department being a recruiter, and the mindset out in the community. How do they see the fire department? And finally, in this line of activities is to take a look at how are we marketing ourselves? How are we marketing our departments? Who are the right messengers to take the message out? What is the right message? And for each target audience, there might be a different message. The third thing is the medium. What is the tool, or what is the medium that we are putting out our messages to these different communities? And one target audience, let's say the Latino community, is going to have a different medium that they would respond to than, let's say, the Vietnamese community or the black community. Women might be have access to a different medium. And finally, timing. And timing is critical because there are times during the year that it's much better to reach out to different target audiences. The next piece of this is mentoring. There's two aspects of mentoring. One is if you don't know what's going on in all the multicultural communities, seek out a mentor from that community and ask them to help you better understand what some of the issues are. The second piece of the mentoring is, do we have mentors within our departments, because if we are recruiting people who have not traditionally seen the fire service as a career or as a volunteer opportunity, they're not going to understand what it takes. They're not going to understand the culture. So it's really our responsibility to help them to do that. And finally, measure. There just are not enough dollars to go around. We've got to start measuring the impact. We've got to start measuring where people are coming from, who's in what networks. And you don't have to get fancy. You can use an Excel spreadsheet to do that.
Thank you, Larry. Now that we had a fairly grounded foundation of what our diverse recruitment framework is, I'd like to ask our fire service panel members, what strategies have you found work to recruit diverse, inclusive, and safety-conscious firefighters? Lieutenant Hughes, would you like to start?
Sure, absolutely. We like to sell the benefits of a career in the fire service to people that apply. We like to tell them about the salaries, the great benefits that are involved, as well as the promotional opportunities. In some cultures, people don't see fire service career as an esteemed position. So we like to find out the reservations that people have and reach out to them and educate them about our department. We do advertise. We advertise at colleges, on radio stations that meet the target groups. We reach out to colleges, athletic leagues, universities, churches, a number of things. And one thing that I think is a real key to our success is that we are along with constantly advertising on our websites, our Facebook pages, Twitter, we have a process where people can put an interest card in. So if we are not hiring at a current time, they'll submit their name with the interest in the fire department, and then when we are hiring, they will be contacted and have the ability to apply for a position with our department.
I like the interest card tactic. That's a really good tactic, actually.
Yeah, it works
thank
very
you.
well.
I can imagine. Thank you, Lieutenant Hughes. Chief Price.
Okay. Well, you stole all my thunder. You do all of that stuff. I think it's very important what you said about selling the benefits and having people understand. And we had a little bit of disagreement about that when we first started making that a part of our campaign or our marketing campaign. As far as what our benefits were and what it meant to be, how that will help you and your family. And so, our point was the fact that it's a job. It is a profession. So people need to know that they can survive off of it and support a family. And so that was a very important part of it. It's not, there are some volunteer organizations and things of that nature that there are some people that still do not realize that this is a professional career where you can come in at the ground floor and work your way up and become a part of the decision-making process, and also provide for your family and support yourself. So that's a big part of it. And then we've been trying to actually really get the word out as to what we are as a fire service and what we do for the community. That's very important information to get out. And we hit all of those same areas, the athletic departments, the colleges. We do advertisement in the radios. We hit the community centers, the different clubs and the churches. And one thing that we've done different this year, we've got back to our committee. So we have a person that runs our committee, Liza Starr, and we have probably 12 people that are involved in our committee. And so having all of those ideas from those people and people actually do the footwork has made this year a very good, we're very excited about what's going to happen this year with our hiring process, which we're in right now. We happen to be hiring.
Thank you, Chief Price. We're still having a hard time hearing you, so if I'm not sure if that's on your end, if we can work on that. Chief Turan, do you have anything?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Uh, yes, I'd like to add the fact that word of mouth has really been important for us. When you have an individual that has experienced a positive relationship with the department, and they go back and talk to their, other folks that are trying to get into fire service, that has been huge for us. We do have people that hear our advertisements, that we do go to the colleges, but really we've found it's been word of mouth for us that has really been the biggest bang for our buck. Also, something I think is important too is I think we need to communicate the career opportunity once you're in the fire service. I think sometimes we're hesitant to talk about the pay and the benefits, retirement systems. All those are really important to explain to a young person that's looking at the fire service as a career. And sometimes I think we don't want to talk about those benefits, and I think it's important to communicate that.
Thank you. Those are all great points. Larry, do you want to say something?
Yeah, one of the things that I think is important, and I know this was part of the Madison campaign, was that you asked people in the department to go out and help to identify candidates, qualified, inclusive, diverse, and safety-conscious candidates, and that there was a tremendous amount of ownership when people were bringing candidates to the table. Is there anything that you can say about that?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Better?
It's a little bit better, but it's still muffled.
Okay, how about now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we had pamphlets where we would have everyone to pick three. We have people in the department. We would give them 3 flyers and some information about the department, and for them to pass this information on to 3 people and be responsible for them through that part of the process. So that was how it was one way where we got the inclusiveness within the department to have people go out and bring someone along. Someone that you want to work with, someone that you want to take responsibility for, and help mentor them through the process.
Thank you, Chief Price. We do have a question that came in from Dwayne Dodwell. The question is, what specific strategies are your departments implementing when competing with other large or of equal size departments when attempting to hire from the same candidate or hiring pool? Do either of you want to answer this question?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on. Yes, what we try to explain is that even though we're a small community, yes, so we try to explain that there are benefits of working in a small community, the fact that you do know all the firefighters, and the fact that you are given opportunities for education and promotion that you may not necessarily have in a larger department. So we just try to play up our positive benefits for being a small department.
Thank you, Chief Tran. Lieutenant Hughes, did you want to mention something?
The only thing with the special interest cards in advertising is we do 6 weeks prior to our application process, we do increase our advertising in reaching those target groups.
And Larry, would you like to say something?
Yeah. One of the things that we have seen, and we didn't learn this from the fire department, we learned it from the corporate world, is that especially when we're recruiting people who are coming from different backgrounds, they want to know that they're going to feel at home, that it's not going to be a hostile environment. And with all the articles going out in the media about diversity and inclusion issues in fire departments, somebody who doesn't really know what this is about sees that and they say, why would I want to put myself in that kind of a position? So, Dwayne, to answer your question, if you have a very inclusive department, if you've been working on building that inclusion into the culture of your department, that is a sales point. That is something that you can compete at any level on any day with the other departments in your community. And one of the things that we have said and that we've learned and that we've tried to promote is that diversity never grows inclusion. Or, I'm sorry, not never. It doesn't necessarily grow inclusion. but inclusion always attracts more diversity. And it's a really key concept in terms of needing to compete with other people who are going after your same applicant pool.
Thank you, Larry. Now that we know that the U.S. will be a minority-majority country, we can't control that, and we have talked about a model for a successful recruitment strategy, it is time to introduce the free diversity recruitment video, Why I Chose Fire Next Generation. So we have two videos, one for career recruitment and one for volunteer recruitment. In both videos, we have adopted the MTV approach to target 15 to 25-year-old women, people of color, LGBTQ, and other protected classes. Every child wants someone they can look up to, so the saying, I can and want to be like him or her, we show them firefighters that look and speak like that individual child. We are fortunate enough to have many organizations supporting the message of the Why I Chose Fire Next Generation video. The generations are the National Association of Hispanic Firefighters, the National Native American Firefighter Association, or Fire Chief Association, I'm sorry, and the Asian Firefighter Association. We have two LGBTQ organizations, National EMS and Firefighter Pride Alliance, and You Can Be Anything. We have FESHI, the Fire and Emergency Services Higher Education, as well as IFC, iWomen, IUDPFS, and Center for Public Safety Excellence, ICMA, which is International City County Managers Association, TRADE, National Fire Academy Professional Development Initiative, and the Washington Fire Chiefs Association.
I love being a firefighter. I don't feel like I'm completely myself without this job in my life.
You need to bring your physical game, you need to bring your mental game, and also you need to be an inspiration to others.
As far as I know, I'm the only female bomb tech in the state of Maryland.
I actually got into firefighting totally by accident. And my senior year in high school, somebody asked me about the fire department. The more and more he explained to me about what modern firefighting was, the more and more I fell in love with it.
A qualified, diverse, and inclusive fire department provides better service to our communities.
I'm originally from Guinea, West Africa.
I'm Costa Rican and Puerto Rican.
I belong to the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. I'm Lakota Sioux.
I'm first generation Vietnamese American.
When I was 16, I came out of the closet. It's only getting more and more accepting every day.
There are so many different ways that the fire service touches a family or touches the community at large.
The area that we grew up in, we grew up around violence. I knew that I didn't want to be a part of the problem. I wanted to be a part of the solution.
As everybody sees you and they smile and they wave and they say, this was a tough neighborhood, but he made it through.
Just because you grew up in poverty or just because you may not be rich or you don't come from a firefighter background, doesn't matter. I'm living proof and you can be a firefighter as well. I'm living the dream.
Hopefully you like the trailer. We got a lot of good response from it. What I'd like to do is ask the panelists and start with probably Lieutenant Hughes. What did you like about the Why I Chose Fire Next Generation video?
Well, it really represents what we believe in, and we want to continue supporting the community and reaching out to different people. I think the really cool and awesome part of that is it showed that people can be themselves and they can be comfortable in their own skin. And that is something that people will be, be attracted to.
Yes, Hank Turan. First of all, congratulations on a well-done video. The professionalism of the video is really captured, as well as the music soundtrack. And just the fact, like Lieutenant Hughes was saying, I think the person doing the filming captured the personalities of everybody. It doesn't seem rehearsed, but I think people are speaking from the heart, which I think resonates very well in the video.
Yeah, and I just like to concur with what they're saying. It was big fun doing it. I think it's it was fun doing the film, and I think they really did capture the essence of what we were trying to get across. You know, the fact that, you know, it truly isn't just a job; it's a career, and you know, it's about family, and you know, there's differences in families, and it's about understanding those differences and trying to accept people for who they are, you know, and moving forward. Because when you really look at it, you know, we are the community, you know, and so we have to really think of our job as that, because we represent the community. So we need to let that be known. It's just not one type of a firefighter that's on the job.
Yeah, a couple of things about the video. We tried to do a fair amount of research, and as you noticed, and we said earlier, we really targeted ages 15 to 25. And what we're learning is that if we don't start reaching out and growing the next generation of North American fire service personnel, that we're probably going to end up being in pretty much the same situation 10, 15, 20 years from now, having the same kinds of conversations. So based on that model that I showed you, where it says identify your target market, your target audience, we really specifically wanted to reach out to the next generation. People who already have an interest are going to come. They're going to show up. People who've come from firefighter families and want to get into the profession, they're going to show up. We don't really have to spend time and resources advertising to try to reach them. Dwayne Dodwell put in an interesting comment and talked about the experiences that people within the fire service were not recommending their own children to come into this profession. And I think that it's really important that we find out what is getting in the way, because we know that as a legacy profession, if we track this back 20, 30, 50, 100 years, we see it as being a family passed down from generation to generation. But if that's not occurring with women and people of color and other protected classes, then something is going wrong in what's happening within the department. And that's what we really need to be addressing.
Thank you, Larry. Let's see. So what we want to talk about now is some ways to integrate the video into your diversity recruitment strategy. So some of the ways are putting a link on your department's webpage. As we all know, social media campaigning. You can also burn a video to up to 2 DVDs, taking them to fairs, showing them at your department, at the firehouse would be good. What I would like to do, though, is turn it over to the fire service panelists and ask them how do they plan to integrate the video into their diversity recruitment. Chief Turan, would you like to start?
Yes. Well, first of all, starting early is always the best way. And by the time you decide you're going to have a recruitment drive is really not the time. So utilizing the video, not just at the public events that we have here on the island, but really in the high schools is what we're looking at. There's a mandate in Washington that CPR needs to be trained to all high school students. So we plan on using, if possible, that part of that time to show the video to get some interest in our cadet program, as well as those that may be interested in the fire service. So that's one of our approaches.
We'll utilize it pretty much the same way that we did the first version. We utilized the first version. We had it on our website. We used it at all the events that we went to when we went to high schools or colleges or job fairs. We'd loop it in the background. We play it before we spoke. It was very catching, and I think it worked really well for us with dealing with the young kids, for them to see that that they exist on the job. That was the biggest point we were trying to make, is that you are here and that you would fit in, and that it is a viable option for you, as a career. So we would use it the same way. Because when we do our advertising, we drive our people to our website, because we try to make sure everybody gets the same information. So having that video there, I think, is a very powerful tool. So and you get an opportunity to customize it too. And that's why we got involved with the second one, because the only thing I kept hearing about was, like, they wanted to see some of our people in it. So now some of our people are in it.
Awesome. We will speak about customization in just a moment. Lieutenant Hughes, would you like to share how your department's going to use the video in your strategic recruitment strategy?
Absolutely, as well as everyone else. We'll include it in our campaigns, but we do a lot of public events, and we'll include it in that. CPR trainings, hands-on CPR training, customer service, community events, churches. But the one real big thing with the young population is the importance of social media, and it will definitely be featured on all of our social media pages.
We do have a question that came in from Mike Robertson, and his question is, are there any recommendations for an EMS agency that has ongoing recruiting needs, EMTs and paramedics, in an urban environment? And how should we begin attracting diverse candidates?
I can speak as to my department. We use a lot of our special interest groups in recruitment campaigns, and we have an EMS-only track where we allow people that aren't interested in being a firefighter to be a career paramedic or EMT and show them the promotional opportunities. We include many of our diverse members in those groups and out in recruitment in the colleges and things like that, just to show that, you know, we do have all kinds of people that can be a part of our department.
Hank Turan, we too have an EMS division to try to meet those needs, because there are those that truly do have a passion for EMS that really aren't interested in the fire service. So we have that means as well.
I really don't have too much to say with that. You know, we have we're a professional department that have both fire and EMS combined. You know, so it's a part of the whole package. And so I don't know exactly how to help them with that particular problem.
Not a problem. I think what Chief Turan and Lieutenant Hughes said hopefully has helped them, and we'll follow up to make sure that we did answer the question. Chief Price did mention that we offer video customization packages. In this package, departments can customize their video by adding an intro from the fire chief, a call to action closing on the video with the department's logo and contact information. We then put that customized video, personalized customized video, on a bilingual web page that links directly back to the online nomination form. Like he mentioned, Madison saw the value in doing this back in 2008 with the original Why I Chose Fire video. Chief Price, do you want to talk briefly about the recruiting success story that Madison had when you guys did do the customization?
The video was very popular. I just got some information from you guys about that. I didn't know we had over 7,000 hits, on that video. So that was very influential in what we do, because we'll end up in that time frame. We got when we did that, our numbers went up tremendously. We went up from getting like about 900 to 1,100 applications to getting 1,200 and 1,300 applications, and we got some real quality people. And we're still working on our process, but I think it brought in some younger people, some people that went, oh, that looks like fun, because the job is fun, and and it was actually fun doing the customization. I didn't realize how hard it was to have a script of only like 3 or 4 lines and to say it without messing it up. So that was interesting, but it is I think it's a good tool, and like I say, you can use it how you need it, but it's nice to have your face or your chief's face, associated with it, because it shows buy-in.
Well, just as we might have it, we do have the opening, Madison's opening with Chief Deborah Mesco, who's now retired, and a call to action closing with yourself, Chief Price. And what we're going to do is we're going to show it right now.
I'm Deborah Amesqua, Fire Chief for the City of Madison Fire Department. The City of Madison is a wonderful place to live and to work. We're a diverse community filled with culture and history and new ideas for all of us to share and to grow. The Madison Fire Department is committed to respecting, reflecting, and representing the whole community while building a qualified, diverse, inclusive, and compassionate organization.
I'm Division Chief Art Price of the City of Madison Fire Department. If you're a team player and considering a fulfilling fire service career with great pay and great benefits, we'd love to have you check out the City of Madison Fire Department. Please visit our website, madisonfire.org, for more information.
Larry, would you like to add anything about the benefits of the customization video package we offer?
I think that the customization is an important piece. Unfortunately, as a small nonprofit, we can't afford to give that away. We've really tried to come up with a very small cost of doing the customization. We've got a sheet that departments can get from us if they are interested, and we're happy to talk with any of you or any departments about customizing it. And it identifies if you've got a resource that you can shoot the video and then send it to us, and we've got the formats that you need to do that in. We can put it together and usually turn it around in a week to 2 weeks. So it's really appreciative. We would be appreciative if, you know, it's not something that you need tomorrow and you say, hey, we're starting our recruitment, we really need to have this customized. We've done it for, I think, 7 different departments, and they all had pretty good positive response. I know that there are a couple of other people on the call that have customized the video, and of course we're happy to, you know, give you any references at all for it. One of the things that I want to say is that this is a tool, and one tool does not a successful diversity recruitment make. The key thing to any diversity recruitment is about relationships. And this is one more tool to be able to open a door to building a relationship with people out in the community. Oftentimes we hear, oh, our department just doesn't have the resources. We don't have a recruitment team. How do we go about doing that? And what we found is that the community wants to partner if the department understands what some of the community's needs are. And most of the community leaders that we talk with really are interested in keeping their community safe. So if the department goes out, especially a fire chief goes out and talks to leaders in the community and asks them, you know, what are some of your concerns? And they talk about the fact that there isn't trust, or there's cultural issues and high candle fires, for example, in some of the Mexican communities because they've got home altars. Then the fire department becomes a solution. And the community leaders then see that helping the department to bring qualified, inclusive, diverse, and safety-conscious members from their community to the fire department as qualified applicants is in their best interest. So all of a sudden now you've got advocates out in those communities that you've been trying to figure out how can we find people in those communities. The video is a great tool. It really, we market tested it with the 15 to 25-year-olds and got very, very positive response on it.
Thank you, Larry. There is a question that came in from Dwayne Dodwell. His question is, with the short-sightedness of this generation, what is the response from those departments that try to get this generation to understand the concept of a career in this noble profession?
I can, Hank Turan, I can speak to that. That is something we're struggling with. It really is. You know, as a father who has children that are in that generation, as well as dealing with firefighters that are coming up in our department, that is something that we have to continuously communicate. But also the members that have been in the department, usually those midterm members, they're our best conduit for that because they can explain, they can relate better to the younger generation, because it's not uncommon for folks to start careers and then every 3 or 5 years decide to change jobs, and that's just the reality we're having to deal with.
Yeah, and I'm not coming, Dwayne, from a department perspective. But sociologically, one of the things I think that it's important to keep as a consideration, every generation has experienced this kind of an issue. And I remember having conversations with my father, and he was a member of World War II, the greatest generation, as Tom Brokaw described it. And he thought that my generation, which was the 60s and the 70s, wasn't going to amount to anything. We couldn't hold a job. For me, he was right in many cases. But that he really made a judgment about, you know, those hippies and what were they doing. And now those of us who kind of started with that label in our late teens and early 20s are feeling the same thing about the next generations coming up. Yes, the time frame is getting shorter. I think a lot of research and literature has pointed that out. A second factor is social media really changes how quickly people have access to not only information but changing trends. And so if somebody goes viral with something that's new, all of a sudden it catches on very, very quickly. But I think it's also us. We created this generation. They didn't create that on their own, and we need to take some responsibility and accountability for who this generation is. That they are our children. And so just keeping that in our understanding can open up a different kind of conversation. The final thing that I'd say, Dwayne, is we need to capitalize on some timing issues. And so coming through this, not the government shutdown, but the recession of 2008 really impacted a lot of young people's perspective on looking more for a career and not possibly taking so much entrepreneurial risk.
Thank you, Larry. Lieutenant Hughes, do you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to add that the fire service is one of tradition, and in that theory, if we can continue to mentor and encourage success of the younger generation, I think we will have retention and see people stay. That's a really important aspect, to know that it's not just a job, it's a career. And if you take the informal leaders and the leaders of your department and have them as mentors to encourage the new people and the younger generation, I think it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
I agree. Chief Price, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why my microphone is muffling me like this, but maybe it's a sign from someone. I don't know. I think a big part of it is just we really need to make sure that they understand the importance of what our job is. There are a lot of kids out there that want to do something that means something, and so we got to make sure that we present this career as that job. You know, this is a career that means something, and so so we really need to make sure that they understand that. And I think if you do that, you'll get the ones that want to do something that means something and can make a difference in their life and also other people's lives. So it's that combination of that spell plus the benefits of being able to support yourself with all these things are noble. There's no greed involved in it because you're not going to get rich doing what we do. I hope you guys will hear me.
Yep.
Yep.
Odessa, one other quick thing that I'd like to add is this is a hands-on job. And so any time that a department can create an opportunity for young people to come in and get some hands-on experience, it's going to be much more memorable for them to take a look at this, and it's going to open a door. So there are, opportunities. There was a situation, I don't know if anybody's on from Halifax, but I thought that they had a really great idea. The fire department put together, I think it was a 4-on-4 basketball tournament, and it attracted a whole lot of diverse young people from the Halifax community to come in and play against the fire department. And again, what it did was it began building some relationships. Once those relationships start to happen and there's some trust, then the conversation can really change.
Thank you, Larry. We have about 15 more minutes of the webinar, and so if there's any last-minute questions, please submit them now. I would like to open the time up to the panelists give them a few moments. Is there anything that you guys would like to share that we haven't covered or mentioned?
Taran,
okay.
Yes, if I could say one thing is, we talk about recruitment, we talk about the great things about the job, but there's also, and Larry was, I think, alluding to that. There's downsides about the job, too. I mean, this job is not for everybody. So, in fact, a little story, we were recruiting an individual, and he was really excited, and when it finally came down to signing this dotted line, he said, I hope I'm not expected to go on any high places because I'm afraid of heights. We need to make sure we're transparent with all the applicants, because even though they're great benefits and it's exciting work and you get to help people, there's also those downsides that we all know about. And I think it's only fair to all those that are going to commit to it is that we share those downsides so they really know what they're getting into when they decide to become a firefighter or EMT.
Thank you, Chief Turan. Chief Price, do you have anything to add?
I totally agree with what he's saying. With all the benefits of this job and the opportunity, that's a very true statement. This job is not for everybody. And it has to do with the technical aspects, just like what you were saying, being in closed areas, dealing with fire, height. But the other part of it too, and one of the things that we're really looking for in our candidates is that commitment to compassion and that ability to deal with people. And I think I said it in the one video, if you don't have that capability to deal with people with respect, I mean, you really need to find something else to do. It's not a bad or a good thing. Some people can do it and some people can't. You know, that's just the way it is. And that has nothing to do with race or color.
Agreed.
That's the way it is.
Thank you, Chief Price. Lieutenant Hughes, do you have any closing remarks?
Sure, I agree with my colleagues as well. I just wanted to clear one thing up with there's a perception that we lower standards to get a more diverse fire service, and I do not believe in that or feel that we have to do that. We just have to recruit people in the right areas to make a successful fire department.
Thank you. We have one more question that came in from Carrie Spohr. This person asks, how can we attract more diversity through pre-employment training and education, such as college programs and adult training certification programs?
Odessa, can I take that?
Sure.
This is a superb question. This needs to be the question that every department is asking, because as we increase the qualifications in so many of our departments of what people need to have before they come in, that means that those colleges and universities, especially community colleges, are the feeder source. And if they're not taking this issue seriously about attracting more diversity, we're always going to be on the whip end, and we can't do it on our own. So one of the things that we really found here at Fire 2020 is we've got to get these colleges and universities on board, and they need to see that they in fact are putting that they're like the farm team, and they're working with people before they come out in and apply in many cases.
Thank you, Larry. So we will be releasing the volunteer recruitment Why I Chose Fire Next Generation video on November 6th. And then we will release the career recruitment video on November 13th. Everybody who's attended the webinar will be sent the video registration link to register and to download the videos when they become available. So you guys will get a sneak peek and kind of a early release, if you may, to the videos. If you have any questions or comments about the webinar, please again contact us at 360-627-8863 or via email. The notes and the recording of the webinar will be available to all attendees within a week's time. We want to thank the panelists for their time and their knowledge. And next month's online training is going to be, if it's predictable, it's preventable. Monday, November 11th, between 10 and 11:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Can I just say one thing about next month's webinar with Gordon Graham? If any of you have ever seen Gordon, you know he's a showstopper, got a great sense of humor, incredibly intelligent person. And when Gordon goes out and speaks, organizations pay thousands of dollars to have him come in. So we're really excited that Gordon's going to really talk about why inclusion and diversity are so important from a risk management perspective.
Thank you, Larry. Finally, we'd like to thank the panelists again and the attendees and our sponsors, Scott Lyon, with support from PBI, Fire Chief, Cigna, Tenkata, Citrix Online, and a special thanks to Motorola Solutions Foundation for giving us the grant to produce the videos. 5-question evaluation at the end of the webinar, so please take the time to answer that. We do look at the comments and feedback so that we can improve the webinar for the next month. Otherwise, thank you everybody for attending the webinar and have a great day.